I treasure it now, with danger everywhere. Guard personal safety. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I thought that this haiku, Guard, which it was written for National Situational Awareness Day, which, what day is that? It's like October 10th. No, it's probably in August. What day is it? Well, it's for a date in this calendar, and I thought I'd pull that up and share that with you as an intro thing. Hi, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We're living in COVID times where we have to protect our own safety, which is why it's important that I've got a COVID-19 screening pass test from the last time I went to the doctors. But, anywho, you know, it's always important to have flowers at your desk. Smell those. They're awesome. But, anywho, I thought of the years past when I would be running my poetry open mic, the Cafe Gallery, and when it's supposed to start at 7 o'clock and not quite everyone's there yet, I would read stuff from a book. So I thought, in honor of that and this 2020 series, I would read poetry from recent book releases from Scars Publications. And I thought I would read to you some poetry that is related to current dates from the book Every Event of the Year. This is volume 2, July through December, and I'm looking at some of my choices here of things that I could share with you, and I thought I'd use a bookmark. Oh my gosh, from when I first started and transferred the open mic from the cafe to the Cafe Gallery, and I would put these pieces of paper up at the Gallery Cabaret to let people know that, oh, it's starting on January 18th from 7 to 9 p.m. Read or be a feature. And I have these things at my table here in my library. I'm like, this should be a bookmark for reading for you guys. But I thought I would choose some relevant holidays event poetry that is from this book for you guys. Stuff that I've never read from this book. So I thought I would try, October 6th. That's today. It's actually Garlic Lovers Day. Garlic Lovers Day today. And if you know me, I'm like psycho-belligerent over garlic. Oh yeah. Is it like really, really strong? Then I'm tolerating it. So I thought I would share with you this poem for today, for the holiday for today, for Garlic Lovers Day. This is Vampires and Blood-Sucking Mosquitos Alike. Once went out for a walk in a forest preserve one summer. We walked as a couple with the breeze under the trees. But my date kept complaining that many mosquitoes were biting him like mad. They weren't bothering me. He guessed it was because I was a female, but I guess it was because I had all that garlic recently that I ate. Because, like vampires, these blood-sucking mosquitoes have a deathly fear of garlic, which is just another benefit for this good-for-you and amazingly tasting food. The only downside is that it may smell, although garlic smell might annoy you, it still wouldn't be enough to shake some of those relatives who would rather just complain about it than give you actual peace. So, add it to whatever you like, and know that you're doing something that's good for you too. Because how can you go wrong when one of the oldest cultivated plants was worshipped by the Egyptians as a god, and was even used as currency? Garlic gave strength and courage to Greek athletes and warriors, so don't bother cooking mine. I'm feeling adventurous. Hi, for this live feed for you guys, I will wave to somebody that's watching me live. Hello there, hello there. These are poems that were related to events related to October that are appear in the book, Every Event of the Year, Volume 2, July through December. And you just heard one that was for October 6th. I thought I'd treat you with a garlic one for today. And I haven't had my share of garlic today. Not fair. And for those who are questioning, I was often wearing Bears uniforms, and I thought I'd take a break this week and wear a Bulls jersey. So I might as well wear my Jordan jersey, so I had to break down. But anyway, in mid-October though, is actually, it's a mid-October is Astronomy Day. And so I've got in here a poem for that, and it's called From Orpheus to Nuking the Moon. Scientists have come up with theories in guessing how this planet got a moon, and it may have formed from a collision from a rogue planet that they once called Orpheus, and that when the moon first formed, it was much, much closer to Earth than it is today. That it may have been only 14,000 miles away and not at its current almost 240,000 mile distance. NASA artist-in-residence Laurie Anderson learned that scientists from NASA decided that during the Cold War they were considering setting off nuclear bombs on the dark side of the moon. Because, you see, no one sees that side of the moon. But astronomers now estimate that because of gravity's change, the moon every year is an inch and a half farther away from the Earth. If you remember the moon looking so big when you first looked at it in the night sky when you were younger, well, you may have been right. It's crazy to think about stats like that. Yeah, when I first heard it was Orpheus, although that's a rogue planet thing, but I think it's Theia. I can't remember. They have theories as to what the name of this unknown celestial orb that collided in with Earth would be. So look it up. But it's just a theory. That's the beauty of science. You come up with theories and you hope that it works. So, but here we go. All right. I said that I did a holiday for today. Let's do one for tomorrow. It's not really a holiday. It's Heinrich Himmler's birthday from 1900 on the 7th of October. And yes, I'm sharing with you something from the perspective of the SS in World War II. So brace yourselves. This one's called Kill with Impunity. If you've ever seen footage of Heinrich Himmler, he had no neck and he was very tiny. I mean, he couldn't even get into the army. He wasn't strong enough to be able to do that. And then he ends up running the SS. What? So, anywho, this is called Kill with Impunity. I always knew I was bound for something better. My parents told me that I had my godfather's name, Prince Heinrich of Bavaria. This only fed into my head that I was meant for greatness. I did very well in school, but no matter how many weights I lifted, I always awkwardly fumbled and could never be as strong or as cunning as the other boys in school. But the thing is, I had the brains. I had to prove them all wrong. During World War I, my father got me in with his connections as an officer, but only while I was still in training did the war end, and I couldn't show how strong I really was. At München University, I studied agronomy, even remaining cordial to all of my League of Apollo fencing fraternity brothers, even though some of them, including the fraternity's president, were Jewish. They made my blood boil. They made me want to fight. So I decided to resume my attempts at a military career, but I was unsuccessful there too. So I'd try the paramilitary in Munich, till I met Ernst Röhm, who showed me my new path. You see, he was an early member of the Nazi Party and would co-found the Brown Shirts, aka the SA, the Storm Battalion. But I knew if I was not meant to be fighting, I was meant to lead, and so lead I would. And if all those muscle-bound bullies at school thought I was awkward, let them see me now, and let them see the cruel power I now wield. I have power to make men kill with impunity. I always paid attention to social and political issues as I grew up, and now I was seeing all of my learning come to fruition as I saw more and more that the Jews were the problem. After all these years, I've now found the man who can actually bring us all together to make Germany a better place for all of our people, as long as we get rid of the ones who don't belong. Because after I've learned how the world is, learned all about the world, and after all the changes I've wanted to see, if I don't have the muscle to do it on my own, I'll use a system to show you my real power. That is so weird, just saying that in that perspective is so strange. Try to lower my voice and pull that off. I hope you guys are able to handle that one, because I think it's kind of cool that the next day, 2 days from now on October 8th, is actually World Octopus Day. Octopus Day, what? What is that? Anyway, I've got two about octopi on here. And this first one is a haiku called Octopi and Brains. Did you know that an octopus has a brain in every tentacle? What? Sorry. But they all have to move and manage other. That's just a crazy thought, sorry. But now we got one more for you. It's a little bit longer but short, called Octopi Target McDonald's. We've usually heard reports of protesters to McDonald's because of things like French fries that aren't even vegetarian safe. And even though their methods for killing animals for the fast food is now considered less stressful to the animal, although wouldn't you argue that killing the animal for them is stressful enough to the animal? We enjoyed hearing about this one protest. In December, there was a demonstration against the opening of a McDonald's in southern France. 500 protested using catapults to bombard the restaurant with local batches of fresh octopus. A high-pressure hose and a bucket of octopi, using their tentacles to actually stick it to them. That's funny to me. I'm sorry. But when I'm talking about local or upcoming holidays, the 8th of October is actually the day of the start of the Great Chicago Fire in 1871. That lasted for 2 days. The Great Chicago Fire, October 8th. So, because of that, I wrote this piece that is in this book for you. It is in Every Event of the Year, Volume 2, July through December. I've got too many books here on my desk, on my little kid's desk. Anyway. And this poem for the Great Chicago Fire, which started on October 8th of 1871, is Because of Fire. When we see fire overtake an 850-year-old monument of religion, because beauty or history, we're taken aback, helpless, suddenly aghast, at a loss against that primal, silent killer. But we look at candles lit, and we hear the crackling at campfires, and we feel the fireplace warmth, and remember why a part of us still loves fire so. At times like these, we must remember that although a mass fire seems only a symbol for death and destruction, maybe after the great fire that took over the only city I love, maybe that destruction only leads to building something bigger, something better, something that makes more sense. Because when I stroll from one neighborhood to the next with diverse cultural neighborhoods until I get toward the lake, where I can turn back and span the most beautiful skyline I've ever seen, I have to realize that this history of destruction allowed us to make something so good, all because of fire. Wow, that's novel to read that one, because I've got another Chicago-themed poem that is right after it for the actual 9th of October, which was the date that the Chicago 7 trial began in 1969, with the post-Democratic National Convention. And so I've got a piece about it, which I think is really funny because there's going to be a movie now about the Chicago 7. And I rewrote this poem, so maybe I'll watch the movie when it comes out anyway. This is called Judging the Chicago 7. When things seem too terribly wrong, protests and marches don't change the world. Don't take it from me. Take it from Abbie Hoffman during his post-1968 Democratic Convention trial. Quote, I didn't particularly think that politics in America could be changed by marches and rallies. So what do? All they wanted was to hold rallies away from the convention march and camp in Lincoln Square, and all of which the city of Chicago would not allow. Quote, what we were protesting presenting was an alternative lifestyle. People of Chicago could mingle in Lincoln Park and see what we were all about. Yes, people were against President Johnson, and limited rally space led to a violent riot between the Chicago police and protesters, and it took until the next president, Nixon, for a trial to start against the Select 7. Well, it was 8, but Bobby Seale was so protested that he was bound and gagged in court, chained to a chair, quote-unquote, like a medieval torture chamber, before he was actually separated from the 7. But wait a minute, I'm tired of playing the role of the reporter for the Chicago Tribune and telling you all of the facts, because the only facts that you really need to know are that Abbie Hoffman with Jerry Rubin and the rest of the gang, they all decided that this trial seemed like such a joke that they would treat it accordingly. After Judge Hoffman first said Abbie Hoffman's name, the judge said, "He's not my son." To which Abbie then said aloud, Dad, why are you forsaking me?" Hoffman and Rubin went to trial wearing judge robes to give the world insight into their opinion on this trial. But when they were told to remove the robes, they did, to reveal cop uniforms underneath. The defense brought up musicians who weren't allowed to play their guitar. And when Allen Ginsberg was up in the stand, he asked about the was asked about a harmonium, and the judge tried to stop the madness there, but not before Ginsberg snapped it from a few bars before he was stopped. Back to my reporting. From the Daily Chronicle, DeKalb's newspaper, Ginsberg, in an effort to bring some peace back to the trial, started chanting his mantra of preservation. Hari, Hari, Hari Rama, 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 Rama Krishna, don't understand. After which, of course, Judge Hoffman stopped the poet while the courtroom was still laughing. Wait, quote, "The language of the U.S. court is in English. I don't know what language that was we just heard," Judge Hoffman said, to which, said of this song, which is when Ginsberg told him, "It's Sanskrit." And of course then the judge actually responded, "When you offer testimony in a foreign language, you must have an interpreter." And no, Ginsberg could not interpret himself. Okay. I'm reporting again. This isn't fair. But I think the point of all of this whole trial and how it'll play it out may be this. People can protest things when a government goes bad. And if the actions of the protesters end up becoming bad, sometimes after a while you just have to laugh at the whole system, which reveals itself to be ludicrous, because at times that insanity becomes the only feasible alternative. I mean, look at your choices. Sane or not, which option will help you through the madness? Okay. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just trying to carry things for like the next week or something because I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I'm going to do one more poem for you guys. and it is for October 10th. I think it was the first prose thing that I did while I first came back to Chicago after leaving and then moved to Austin. And it appears in a Pharaoh Memes haiku book, I believe. And it's a little prose poem piece, and it is for the 10th of October, which happens to be National Zombie Day. Didn't know that was a thing. I suppose if I cared about that kind of stuff, I probably might know it, but I didn't know it, so I'm sorry. I learned these things to write these poems and these prose pieces for you guys. I hope you guys like it. This is in this book for National Zombie Day. The last poem I'm going to share with you today from every event of the year, Volume 2, July through December. This is called The Robot Zombie Witch Girl Revisited. This is my curse. How many demons am I supposed to fight? How many barricades to progress am I supposed to either find a way around or physically break down with my palms of my hands? I know no one believes me and keeps shoveling tasks at me for more for me to do into this heap in front of me. And they're shoveling just mounds of loose rock and topsoil over my casket, waiting to bury me. But it's like I'm one of those zombies in those bad black and white B movies that doesn't seem to die and keeps coming back. I'm one of those zombies lacking all color and having orbs for eyes with arms outstretched, letting you know that I'll be very slowly with my right foot dragging in my torn gauze, that I will very slowly be coming back, that somehow I'll make it back to haunt you. This is my curse. The problem is that with this bad right foot and all this gauze, this zombie walk that I have to do with my right leg all straight, I feel like I'm one of those buxom zombie witches with long straight black hair and my feet thunk onto the ground as I move my feet, and my foot drags, and I've got this long black dress and all this gauze from my foot, and it's just dragging behind me, and it's so unattractive, and I can never even make a surprise entrance. I think that's the whole problem with being a zombie girl who dresses in black and keeps coming back. Unlike the angels, my wounds don't get better, and I'm walking around with bandages, and I leave a blood trail behind me. Even when I'm clean, even when I clean up the mess I've made, I'm still just a mess. It makes this underlying zombie girl want to find religion so a god can come along and save me from all of this. I keep looking for crosses in everything. I look for the meaning in everything, and I keep getting poetic, and I keep just fumbling with the masses, and I wonder if they all think like me, like nothing makes sense. So I can't seem to wax poetic, and I can't seem to get religious, and I'm left just as lost as I was before. And I'm dressed in black, and I'm losing blood, and hell, I don't know what else. I don't know what else, what happens to me, and all I know is that I just look depressing, and I keep coming back. So, don't be surprised. It's just me again. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that was the last one, because I think there's something for Columbus Day in this, and if I don't read it for you in next week's installment because I'll go to another book, I might be reading it as a live feed for you guys. I want to thank everybody who is interested in poetry, and thank you for listening to poetry from the recently released book, Every Event of the Year, Volume 2. July through December. I'm showing off my book. And anyway, I hope everyone remains poetic. I hope that since we're still stuck in these COVID-19 pandemic modes, I hope everyone is staying safe. And I want each and every one of you out there to know when you are feeling down and lonely, to know that you are loved. So keep that in mind. Stay safe, stay poetic, and thank you. Thank you for everything that you do and everything that you believe. Thanks a lot, and I will talk to you very soon. Thank you very much.